my channel. I'm Dani Walker. Today, we are unfortunately discussing more things that have happened concerning the Miss Universe Canada organization. Today's episode is brought to you by Rehearsed to Relatable. If you want to learn how to improve your pageant interview, then click the description below. And if you're brand new on my channel, I hope that you're going to consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell so you know when new episodes come out every week. After my videos that were about the Miss Universe Canada organization and the feud that they had with Michael Cinco, I ended up getting tagged in another post online, and I thought this one was really interesting because it's coming from a very different perspective. There is an Instagram account and it's called Starts with a K. I assume the woman's name is Kay. And she's sharing her story about what happened when she was entering Miss Universe Canada 2020. And the things that she shared don't surprise me so much because I have heard of things like this happening in pageants that makes me really sad. So I wanted to share her story and what she is claiming because I want pageant contestants to be aware of what's normal and what's not normal. And I think that when you're a new pageant contestant and you're unsure about the pageant industry and what's normal and what's not, you can feel really afraid to speak up. And sometimes it's important to speak up and stand up for yourself. And I think that this was a great example of that. Before I read some of her statement, I want to clarify that these are allegations. We haven't heard a response from Miss Universe Canada. So this is one side of the story, to be fair. For those of you that remember, last year I was set to compete in Miss Universe Canada 2020 after having to defer my place in 2017 when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I withdrew from the competition to start chemotherapy. First and foremost, I'm so glad that she has recovered from this. That's incredible. So, wow, that's just a lot to put into perspective for this. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and I'm putting the screenshots here so you could see them as well. In August 2020, I received an email from the delegates desk confirming whether or not I would be participating that year, as well as notifying me of the increase in fees, which were previously $26.25, and that's all I needed to do was pay the remaining $9.50 difference. For clarification, it's not out of ordinary for the cost of competing in a pageant to increase every year, so I was not completely alarmed. And with the Miss Universe Canada age restrictions, this was my last opportunity to enter, so I decided to go for it. She's right, that's very common. We do see fluctuations in sponsorship fees. I settled the difference not realizing that was my first mistake. I had overpaid almost $700 in fees, and what was worse, they didn't say a word. Fast forward to October 3rd, 2020, just 2 weeks before the competition. This blows my mind. I received another follow-up email from the Miss Universe Canada delegates desk regarding an outstanding balance of the exact amount I transferred in August. I relayed to them that I had already paid this balance via e-transfer and forwarded the email confirmation that they sent to me after this transfer. Makes total sense. On October 8th, 2020, I received a phone call and multiple text messages from Dennis stating that the team looked back into their e-transfers and could not find any payments made by me, and that they received payments from someone with similar initials to mine. Each time that I would rule out his excuse and corroborate with evidence, he would attempt to create a new one. So let's recap. We're sitting days away from the pageant, and Dennis has now claimed that he did not receive anything from 2017 to 2020. This includes January 2017 application fee, $40, June 2017 first installment, $1,000, July 2017 second installment, $1,000, August 2017 last installment, $625, and August 2020 fee difference of $950. That makes sense because a lot of pageant systems will allow you to pay in different installments, so this breakdown makes a lot of sense to me. To date, I paid a total of $35.75, and despite having previous emails from his team confirming reception of the e-transfers, emailed e-transfer receipts, and emails directly from the TD Bank IT team, which confirmed my transfers, he continued to deny receiving my funds and conveyed that I would really need to pay the fees again in full in order to compete, which is crazy to me. After this, on October 18th, she spoke to a lawyer, and the lawyer advised that she get on the phone with her bank and with Dennis so that he could actually hear the confirmation of transfers from the bank side, so confirming it. And even though this happened, Dennis still continued to deny that he received any of these payments. Based on his reaction, it began to dawn on me that for the second time I would have to make the difficult decision to pull out of the competition. I knew that I would be compromising my morals if I chose to continue, no matter how badly I wanted to compete. That is a really tough decision. I informed Dennis that I would no longer be participating in this year's pageant and would be working with my lawyer for further action and next steps, and immediately went to inform the Miss Universe organization of this incident, as well as to see if something similar had happened in the past. Essentially, after she went to MUO and she spoke to some other contestants, she did find some other similar stories and things that happened to other contestants like this. Overall, she was very disappointed about this, and to close things, she said that my hope is to inform everyone who is thinking of entering this competition about the kind of organization and leadership that they would be aligning themselves with, and hopefully forcing the Miss Universe Canada and MU organizations to take some responsibility, hold Dennis accountable, and restore the image of what I truly believe pageantry can be. You took away my dream, Dennis, but I will not let you do this to anyone else. Wow, wow, wow. None of this is good. If I were a contestant, I would have serious reservations about getting involved in this organization. And I do see things like this in pageants. From a personal standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, I get contestants that ask me what my thoughts are about certain organizations or certain pageants and what I know about them. And when I know information like this, I make sure to disclose that to my own clients. These things aren't usually what I would share on a public forum. That's not really what my channel is about. But sometimes I do believe that these things have to be addressed. And the reason I'm addressing this case is because of the other recent things that have been going on with this organization. And I want to talk about it because I want contestants to be aware, not only for Miss Universe Canada, aside from that, but there are things like this that do happen within other organizations. And ladies, if you see these things happening, either say something or walk away, because honestly, I don't believe it's worth it. When I was competing in pageants, I always watched and paid close attention to the pageant staff and the directors. And there were times when I looked at the whole situation and just thought, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm not entering. Because your staff, your directors are going to determine how your year flows. They are a big part of your journey. Even though they're in the background and you don't always see them, they're gonna be a big part of it. And you're gonna have to work well with an organization. And if these types of things are happening and they're making you feel uncomfortable, honestly, I don't think it's worth the stress. Enter a different pageant. There are lots of other organizations that have great things to offer to you, ladies. There are other options and other paths for you. So I'm not saying that this is going to be the case next year, or that these types of things are always going to be happening with Miss Universe Canada. I don't know. I can't predict the future. I really just want to warn contestants with this episode. Ladies, this is not normal. It's a red flag. If you see things like this happening within an organization, it may be time for you to move on or pull out or not enter it at all. It's just not a really good sign of what your experience could be like as a title holder. So I just want all of you all to be aware of that as we're watching these different things unfold and as we're hearing more about them online, to use discernment and use discretion when it comes to stuff like this, ladies. I really do hope that this is going to be looked into and addressed. I know that this contestant did eventually get her money back, but still, that wasn't the point. That's not what she wanted. She wanted the opportunity to be on that stage to be Miss Universe Canada, and she didn't get that opportunity because she wasn't willing to send all that extra money in, which makes sense, right? Like, that's not a fair thing to ask a contestant to do, especially when she's providing proof that all of those transfers did happen. As far as we know, that is her side of the story. Like I mentioned earlier, we haven't heard from Miss Universe Canada on this, but I wanted this episode to come out because I really want it just to be a warning to all pageant contestants. So I hope that you were able to take away some things from this episode and learn a little bit more about what's going on. Unfortunately, these things do happen sometimes in the pageant industry. I know this isn't a good look for the pageant industry, and ladies, I want to tell you, no, this is not the norm. This is not what you should expect in pageants, so do not let this scare you, but I just want you to be aware of it so that things like this don't happen to you in the future. So thank you so much for watching this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it, that you are subscribed, and you're going to tune in for lots more, and also be sure to let me know what your episode requests are in the comments below.